Hey everyone, I'm here with a 2019 Jeep Cherokee Limited four-wheel drive. This has the standard Active Drive 1 four-wheel drive. Just want to go over this vehicle, what it's been like over the last 46,000 miles. My family has had it since about 34,000 miles. In the warranty history, not much has happened in that time frame. Just regular maintenance, tire rotations, oil changes, filter changes, you name it, windshield wiper change, infotainment software update. And one of the main things that you want to do with these cars as preventative maintenance is just to make sure that you're up on the oil changes, especially since this car actually has the 2-liter turbocharged 270 horsepower engine. You want to make sure that you use GF6 full synthetic 5W30 oil. That's what Jeep recommends. And make sure you stay up on those. Change it every 6,000 to 7,000 miles at the most. They say you could go 9,500 to 10,000 miles on an oil change, but you're really pushing it when it comes to these direct injection turbocharged engines. This vehicle in particular with this engine can produce up to somewhere around 20 psi of boost, maybe even more than that, like 22 psi of boost under full throttle, which is pretty high for a standard non-modified factory vehicle. So that's another reason to stay up on those oil changes and use quality oil. Also recommend using at least mid-grade gas when you're at the fuel pump. This car usually gets 89 octane mid-grade gas with only 10% ethanol. That's pretty much the middle of the road option when you're at the fuel station, so you're going to pay around 20 to 30 cents more a gallon. But I would again recommend that due to the turbocharged engine that's in this car. It actually seems like this car is smoothed out over the miles. Like maybe it's just part of the break-in or using better quality oil than they even had at the factory on this car or that the previous owner had. But this one has, I think, full synthetic Valvoline 5W30 oil, and it's just works out the best when it comes to having the smoothest possible engine and startup. This also has an AGM H7, so it's a Group 48 size interstate battery from Costco with like 850 cold cranking amps of power. So the electrical system's really happy and in good shape. So that's always good news. So it also just starts up every single time, and that was why the battery was replaced actually in October of 2024, so about 4 months ago. Just didn't start up one day. And something with FCA vehicles, even if you try to jump start the car, sometimes if the battery is just on its last legs, there's just nothing you can do to get it started. I think sometimes there's a electrical protection that's built in to make sure that you don't jump start it and hurt the electrical system if the battery is so low that it actually could induce like issues with the car if you were to jump start it. So ultimately it might result in you getting stranded. But what's interesting is both in my car, which is an Alfa Romeo Stelvio 2021, and this Jeep Cherokee 2019, they worked just fine driving for a while. But the thing that will give it away that you have an issue with the battery is that the engine stop start system that shuts off its stoplights and restarts once you take your foot off the brake. That system will stop functioning, or if it does shut down, it will restart the engine in like less than 5 or 6 seconds. And that's a clear sign that if the temperature is above freezing outside, your climate control set at like 65 to 68 degrees, fan speed's on low, everything else seems fine in the cabin, and the car still is not shutting off like it usually does, that's a pretty clear sign that your battery's on its last legs and it's time to restart it or to get a new battery. And that was one of the clear signs with this car for sure. About a month and a half leading up to this, the engine stop start would not work ever. And it would just say in the infotainment system in the center gauge cluster that the battery system was charging and stop start wasn't ready. And one day, come out after a couple days of the car sitting, and it was probably, 45 degrees outside, not too cold, but just cold enough, and the battery was low enough that I just wouldn't want to start anymore. So replace it with a much better battery than the one that came from the factory, albeit it was a little bit more expensive, closer to $200. But you install that yourself in about 10 minutes and you're on your way. The other thing I want to call out is just a shout out to Michelin for providing these tires for me to review for you guys. These are the Michelin Defender 2s. Had them on the car since the end of September of 24, so about 5 months ago, going on 6 months actually. and they've been wearing in quite nice. They have about 2,500 to 3,000 miles on them. There's no discernible wear, not even a half a millimeter of wear on there. These are 80,000 mile tires, and in small SUV applications that Michelin has shown that these would last potentially over 90,000 miles with mixed driving. So just like, you know, urban driving 30 to 60 miles per hour, and you know, being on the highway for short stints as well. So based on DeRozier's consulting that's listed on Michelin's homepage for the Defender 2, these tires should last on a car like this that's about 4,000 pounds, a little bit under, somewhere around 80 to 90,000 miles, which is extremely impressive, and means that for the average person who buys one of these cars, they might only need 2 sets of tires in the time that they own the car. If they last 180,000 miles, a lot of people will get rid of their car by that point. So that's actually a really nice investment when it comes to that. Overall, this car is very quiet, very smooth. These tires have made a noticeable difference over the Goodyear Assurance All Seasons that were on here before. The car is definitely quieter, a little bit smoother. You can tell that there's a slightly sporty or firm edge to these tires, and that's because the compound is just a little bit harder in order to maximize the wear, in order to make sure it gets 80,000 miles out of those tires. But it's nothing objective, or nothing out of the ordinary that you wouldn't expect for a high mileage kind of type of tire, and it tracks straight and true down the road. Like I said, it's very quiet, very smooth when you're on smooth roads. Just has a little bit sharper impact than maybe some of the tires out there, but most people wouldn't notice that. If you do notice it, just lower your tire pressure by about 2 psi, and that'll take the edge off just a little bit. So fuel economy, really haven't noticed much of a difference over the standard Goodyear Assurance All Seasons that the car came with, or at least the previous owner had on them. I was getting about 30 miles per gallon on the highway with those tires before, and with these I'm getting about 28.5 miles per gallon on the highway. So a half-worn Goodyear Assurance All Season versus a full tread depth Defender 2, it's about a 1.5 mile per gallon difference. But as we get into the summer months and the tread wears down just a tiny bit, I'm sure I'm going to get up to closer to 29. So the real difference may be only, you know, about 1 mile per gallon less than the low rolling resistance Goodyear Assurance All Seasons that were on here. So overall, really happy with them. In terms of ice and snow traction, they're standard all seasons, so they're not exactly designed to perform the very best. Definitely not something that is a substitute for like a real snow tire like a Michelin Excise Snow, or even an all-weather tire like a Michelin Cross Climate 2. These will provide satisfactory light snow and maybe a little bit of ice traction, but if you're in extreme conditions, I would recommend something that's a little bit more dedicated to those kind of winter conditions. These tires will do just fine, especially if you drive on plowed roads and the temperatures aren't below 0 very often. The tread compound's really optimized for about freezing temperatures up to 80-90 degrees. So if you're in that temperature range, these tires are going to be perfectly adequate for you, and you don't drive through a lot of snowstorms. Overall, Jeep Cherokee's been a great car so far. It has 46,000 miles. I know a lot of people with 2019s out there have closer to, you know, 50, 60, maybe even 70,000 miles. So it's totally possible that the car will have a few other little bugs and things that come up over the next, you know, couple years or something. But this car was built August 17th of 2018. So we're at 6.5 years old. So 6.5 years old, 46,600 miles. Let's do a quick startup and just take a look around inside and see exactly like how it is and how everything's going on it. Door still sounds very solid too. We'll listen to that. Let's start it up. Oh yeah, no problem whatsoever. Just starts up, no problem at all. As you can see, 46,608 for the mileage. Oil change was done only like 5 months ago, so I'm gonna take a look at that and see if the oil level's right. Otherwise, it probably just needs to be reset. So yeah, pretty happy with it. Hasn't really been susceptible to a lot of, you know, heavy use per se. It's had some dirt roads. It's towed a trailer a couple times, but overall the interior, we haven't done any detailing on it. So this is what you could probably expect from a car that you use a moderate amount of time. Maybe it's not your 100% your daily driver, but it's like your second car in the house, or maybe you only got a 10-minute commute to work and you're only going to put on 46,000 miles in 6 years. Yeah, so overall, it's done pretty well, and I'm pretty happy with it. So I'd recommend it at this point. And make sure you just keep up on the software updates on this car. If you get an extended warranty, which might be a good idea just for like the first couple years you own it if you buy it used, take advantage of some of the ECU and transmission control module updates and the infotainment system. Uconnect 4 infotainment system updates that'll help keep this car thriving and in good shape. So hope you guys enjoyed the video today, and again, shout out to Michelin for providing me these Defender 2 tires to review for you guys. They've been outstanding so far, and would definitely recommend them if you do a lot of mileage and have a lot of miles that you put on your car every year. All right guys, thanks for watching and have a good one.